Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good evening, good everything. You see, I came to Lagos, Nigeria, to talk with my friend Ifeoluwa. It's difficult, but I will do it. I will do it. Just give me a minute. Ifeoluwa Wole-Osho from Ajay. So he's fighting fraud with the blockchain, and he has a great thing. So welcome to the show, and thank you very much for hosting me in here in Nigeria. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Roberta. It's good to have you around. I hope I become a good host.
No, I mean you would. I know you are a good host because I have been with you. We have talked, quite a good times, and I was amazed when the first time I talked to you, and I was thinking about scrolling the Instagram, and then you find a really nice, perfect pair of sneakers. Then you buy it, and you get the message. You send the payment. Silence. I mean, quiet. What is happening? The sneakers will never arrive. Will never arrive, and your money is gone. So, and then the seller vanishes. He's not there. So no receipt, no refund, no nothing. And this is the reality for millions of trades across emerging markets. So Africa, Latin America, some places in Asia, it's the same thing. So trust is missing. So now my friend has a solution. So we need to look this different story. And so please welcome. Let's start doing the show with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Roberta, it was really nice meeting you and talking to you, and I like all the conversations that we had. Well, in a sense, I had a similar problem, but not really from the perspective of buying sneakers. I had a completely unique problem when I stumbled on this solution. I used to be a student in Turkey a few years ago, and I ended up being the president of the African Students Union at the time. That's a different story. How I became president that's a different story. But I ended up being a student of the African Student Union at the time. And then it wasn't really fancy work at the beginning. It was just like what you really needed to do was get information across there were about 60,000 African students in Turkey at the time. And you needed to get information across nearly 30 to 40 different universities. So it really required a lot of traveling, and then not really traveling. Sometimes you needed to send messages out to like your deputies who are going to pass the information. Like, so if a embassy was coming in for the first time, if a passport was coming, if there was some trade relations issues, it was your job to like get that information across. Luckily for me, or it happened in a time just as e-commerce and social media was rising up, like Telegram, WhatsApp. So I'm like, you know what we should do? Rather than doing all this, why don't we get all of the students into like one group or a bunch of groups, like 10 groups? And then we don't have to be like we don't need to be posting clip notes on notice boards. We could just make a flyer, send the information out, and we spread it at much faster rate. That was good. And that was fantastic for about a year or so until COVID hit. And then once COVID hit, it seems it was a eureka moment for many of the students, because normally they did the same process as well. If they made hair, or they cut clothes, or they made food, or they cleaned people's apartments, they would normally make those flyers, then post it on notice boards across their universities and different departments. But now that there was no campus, like, it was eureka. Well, there's this group that the association had made for us. So we moved from having like 10 posts a day to having like thousands of posts a day. Which is fine. I was no longer president. If this is how you guys wanted to use it, fine by me. Like, that's okay. It's good that it has found a new purpose. But not long after, the scammers came through. So it was like, yes, it was bleeds for a while. People were doing buyers and selling. Then the first report came. I paid this money to this person on this group. He didn't pay for my product. I paid to this person, and okay. So initially we were like, okay, what you do is that you submit. Everybody in this group should submit their passports and their house addresses, and we will see whether we can resolve this problem of fraud. We did that for a short period of time until the worst case yet happened. It was a particularly bad case, and I'll explain to you why. There was was COVID, and I had left the country. I didn't want to spend my COVID period. I didn't know what it was. Nobody knew what it was at the time, and I figured that my family was in Lagos at the time. I would rather be with them, and if it was the end of the world, I would rather spend the end of the world with my family, because it's 5 years of COVID. We have a different reality from what it was at that time, but at that time it was really scary.
No, you
And
were right.
yeah. So I went home, and then, but there were some students that were trying to resume school, and then there was an ad in the group. I don't know if this person is a boy or a girl. I've never been able to figure this out, but somebody posted an ad in the group saying the same thing, like, "Hey, I'm leaving the country. I'm going back for COVID. I have this apartment that I'm already paying rent for. I've paid for some amount of time. I'm taking $500 a month with all the things that are inside the apartment. If you're interested, send me a message." And so 5 girls sent me a message, and he collected about $2,500 and disappeared. Now, of course, the money is bad, but you can imagine in the middle of COVID, 3 girls coming to a new country thinking they have an apartment to stay, and just realizing that nothing like that existed.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was quite traumatic. By the time I got back to the country, I had to go straight to the police, because it had escalated. They had taken it to the police, obviously, because they had nowhere to stay. People were trying to lock downs, and it was like, who is the group administrator? Luckily for me, at the time, we started collecting passports. We've tracked down the passport. We realized that it was a fake passport. This person didn't even exist. Yeah. Anyway, so I had to shut down some of those groups down, because at this point I was becoming like in scandal that I could have lost my degree over it. It was really big. But it kept plaguing me, and I'm like, well, it was the middle of COVID. I had some software development experience. I'm like, there could be a way to fix this problem with software, and that is how we started on Ajay.
Okay. And
so what Ajay does is it's simple software. We started off by creating a marketplace that's similar to WhatsApp or Instagram or what they would normally use, and then we put a wallet behind it. Everybody gets a wallet, and there's an escrow. There's a main escrow wallet for every trade that happens. And what will happen on this case, like we have, is usually a trade is consisted of 4 real main things: what the price of the product is going to be, what the delivery fee of the product is or service is going to be if there's any fees attached, where this trade is going to happen, and what is the maximum time it is going to take for this trade to happen. And so when you and I say, this beautiful shirt you're wearing, you are going to sell it to me, I was going to ask you, how much is it? You'll probably say, since you're in Lagos, we'll use Naira. You'll probably say, it's 5,000 Naira. Okay, you're still you're close to me, but you're still a few kilometers away. So how long is it going to take for you to deliver it to me? So I can give it to you in 24 hours, but this time tomorrow you should get it. How much is it going to cost for you to get it to me? 1,000 Naira. And then, okay, so you're bringing it to my house. I'm sending you my actual address. Yes, perfect. And then we'll say, okay, once those 4 things have been agreed, we take a small transaction charge on it, usually 1.5%, and then we sum that all up and prompt me to pay for it. As soon as I put the money in my wallet and I agree to that contract, that money is moved from my wallet to an escrow wallet within the application. And then we just, I get the go ahead to go and make the delivery to you. If the deal goes smoothly, within 24 hours, you get the dress across to me, your shirt across to me. You tap that you have delivered it, send the pictures inside the chat just to confirm that you're delivering to the right address, and just taps delivered. I get a prompt to ask if I've received it. I tap received, and immediately the money moves from the escrow wallet to your wallet, and then you can withdraw it in any of the 6 currencies that we support: dollar, Turkish lira, Naira, Euro, Pound, and USDT. And then if there is...
So this is the important thing. I mean, there's a scroll behind everything, and so you will have no risks in about this transaction, because let's say the shirt, the buyer will see the shirt. He will agree upon some terms and conditions on price, delivery time, and all the details on that one. So at the end of all the transaction, when he receives the shirt, then the seller will receive the payment. Is that right? Because it will go from one wallet to the other wallet. So it will finish this transaction when the buyer is receiving from the seller the problem. Okay. Any disputes in this process, because you may have some disputes.
Yes, yes, yes. So usually we have multiple. There are multiple ways. So let's start with the easiest type of dispute. Usually, like you must have experienced it in your short time here. Somebody's setting up to deliver a product, and then there's traffic, and then he's supposed to deliver it at 6 o'clock, and he's on his way, but it's like 10 minutes past 6. Usually, our system will immediately go into dispute to say, "Hey, you said you were going to deliver it at 6 o'clock. This is 10 minutes past 6. Hey, the time you have not hit the delivered button before the time has elapsed." And then it could be like, "Oh, you can see I'm already on my way. I left my house at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to get to this place, but I'm in traffic. If you give me another 2 extra hours, I will get it across to this person." And you're like, "Okay, can you buyer, are you willing to wait? Obviously, I've already paid for the product. I might wait 4 hours, but I'm not waiting for the whole day. If it doesn't get to me before the end of today, we will kill this deal." It's like, "Okay, don't worry, I'm getting it before the end of today." And so we wait until both sides, until it finally gets to the person and it's like, "Okay, did you like it?" Yes. And then we resolve the dispute by just administering both the delivery fee and the transaction fees to the person. But then there are more sinister ways. Maybe this person never intended to pay. He was like the guy who was given apartment. So let's go back to my initial story. If this had happened, if those girls had used the app to buy it, they would have paid to the app, got into Turkey, realized there was no apartment, and all would have happened was that we just refunded the money back into their wallets, and they would have been able to get a different apartment. And so, in that case, we're able to protect people from fraud and resolve disputes in a very good way.
Adesa, do you see a rising of fraudulent transactions on social media?
Oh yes. So yes, it's really bad in emerging markets. The average of people who lose the average of people who lose money on social media is 4 out of every 10 people. So 4 out of every 10 people who have bought something off social media report to have been scammed in one form or the other. The average amount of money lost per head that has lost money is over $70. And you must understand that $70 in the developing economy is completely different from $70 in developed economies. $70 is
Yes.
what. So it is a lot of money for people, and really, we need to build back trust, especially for the much. There's an age bracket where it affects the most, like people who are a bit older. Once they have that kind of experience, they never come back to buying anything on the internet. People who are much younger, they still pay, they still buy things from the internet. It's just that now they just get accustomed to losing money on the internet. So the idea is we really want to revolutionize how we do transactions, that it will almost be that every social commerce system embeds an escrow within it. So, but we have a first mover advantage in this sector. We're really the first guys to do it, especially doing this on the blockchain. So this is another perspective about it. And I don't know how much time we have. I can go into detail if you still want me to.
Please, I mean, you have all the time, and we need to sell your idea to many people, not only in Nigeria, Turkey, as well as in other countries in Africa and also in Latin America. Why not?
Okay,
Please,
thank you very
please,
much.
please go ahead.
So on the regulatory side of things, there's problems with money laundering. Like, okay, this looks like a sound idea, but how are you not sure people are just using your platform to launder money through fake? Now, this isn't, we're not now talking of fake, as this is somebody that wants to use a product to launder as much money as he can. So it's like the shirt on your back now, he's trying to move money from one account to the other, and now says, "Okay, I'm buying the shirt now for $700, and I've now been able to clean up $700 saying I'm buying the shirt, but it's not actually that." Like, how do you conquer problems like that? And that's where the blockchain element comes in. Okay, the blockchain element comes in two ways, but that's one of the key ways the blockchain element comes in. Every transaction has a hash, and the hash is basically just like a code. Like if you're very familiar with the business, just
Yes.
like a code, multiple digit code that you can plug into the blockchain, and then it can give you information about what exactly happened on this code. So usually when you're transferring money from one account to the next account, you generate a hash, and then it can tell you what account what wallet it originated from, and what wallet it went to. And we have a similar thing, but now we do more than that. We tell you what wallet it originated, that's the buyer wallet, what wallet it originated from, how much was for delivery fee, how much was for everything that we initially agreed to is now part of the hash, is the smart contract attached to the hash. So if you ever need an investigation, it's like open season. You can check the wallets that got it out, the wallets that get it out, and then if you're the police or somebody with higher authority, you can now go to the back end of the wallet and realize, okay, I have an order to find out whose name is on this wallet because I suspect same of mentions. So
So
yeah.
it's it is a very open and transparent process when you go into the blockchain that you can see the hash and you can follow up all the transaction from the beginning to the end.
Exactly, exactly. So we do that, and then because we're already on the blockchain, we then use our stable coin as a regulatory token that allows us now do multi-currency exchange. So now you can pay in money with euro for a vendor in Nigeria, and he can get it out in naira, and he doesn't have to do the exchange rates by himself. Our token solves for those exchange rates. I'm sorry. Our token solves for those exchange rate issues because it is stable to the dollar and it only changes from currency to currency. But right now, we only support six currencies, which is the Turkish lira, naira, as I said, pound, euro, dollar, and USDT.
So they will work very well together. I mean, if you're paying in US dollar and you will get Turkish lira, it will be, I mean, the system will convert and the buyer, the seller will receive the his money in his own currency.
Exactly, exactly. So that's exactly how it works. And we've been able to, in the short period of time, we've been able to onboard about 10,000 users. I still keep like about 1,000 users in Turkey, almost about 11,000 users though. But I still have about 1,000 users in Turkey where I started with the application, and but the majority of them are in Lagos, Nigeria now, about over well, I can't say Lagos, that majority of them are in Nigeria. The states in Nigeria spread, and between Lagos, Benin, Abuja, it's a bit. So yes, so we have that. We've been very lucky and fortunate to be part of Microsoft's founders program, which is limiting our cost in terms of hosting cost. We're part of the Nvidia network because we're trying to build out a AI system that helps underwrite those disputes so that the disputes can be resolved shorter. Because right now, the conversation is going to be read by a human, and then in case of a dispute, you must assume that you're going to read all the chats and see what exactly was agreed to. Especially, you have the contract, you have the conversation that happened before the contract, and you use all of that to disperse the funds to say who is right and who is wrong on this deal. The idea is that with NVIDIA now, we'll be able to use those disputes to train a neural net that's going to be able to give recommendations to the person who's going to resolve it. That based on reading of this, all the evidence involved, we recommend that this is right and this is wrong. This is how the money should be dispersed. We are still working on
Uh,
that. We are not
and that will be AI.
Yes, yes, yes. So it's the AI will just be able to read all through the conversations, see the smart contract, see previous user patterns. So it already has your user history, how you performed in previous trades, and with all of that, be able to give you some predictive. So we're not the AI is not at the moment going to be resolving the trades. It's just going to be making recommendations to the administrators
Yes.
to help it faster, and then based on how it's a recurrent neural net. So the idea is that if you override the AI, he's going to try and figure out why you overrode it, and then try and learn from those information. But it's not yet in play. We're still trying
No,
to
no, no,
get
but
better.
that's the future. But anyway, I mean, it will be a recommendation because the law is different in Turkey as well as in Nigeria, could be different in Kenya, could be different whatever in Latin America. So what you will receive is a recommendation, and based on that recommendation, the terms of or the dispute will be resolved at the end of the day. That's the idea. And if I need to compare to traditional platforms such as Instagram, Facebook selling, what about vendors? How you make the difference with the J?
Well, I always say so when people ask me, I'm like, if Facebook was built in 2023, it will be built like Ajay.
Good.
Yeah,
That's good. That's
because
a good comparison. So I will call, I will call Mark Zuckerberg and say, guys, I mean, you were too early. You need to get here to 2023.
True. It's like you have to understand that Mark Zuckerberg built Facebook before blockchain. Mark Zuckerberg is a
Yeah.
2004 company. Blockchain is a 2008 paper, right? Twitter was maybe 2 years after blockchain, but it wasn't. So all everything has accumulated in moments like this, where an application like AJ could not have existed only in a short window, maybe between 2020, because also you have to have market adoption. People have to, you have to be able to say blockchain and someone like you immediately understands it. That wasn't available like even 10 years ago. And so because of things like that, it's just that we are fortunate, or I am fortunate enough to be in a time variant where everything just seems to work out. There's enough adoption within the market, as in on this, people understand escrow, people use social media. So you have to understand that. So it's even in the design, right? The home button on most of the apps on all the social media. So if you get a natural social media app in its first stages, like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you had a home button. And the home button is significant in the sense that it was supposed to represent the physical home. And there's something unique about this physical home, is that you only let friends in. You don't want random people getting into your house. You don't want them seeing into your house.
No.
And they had different ways of inviting people in. So on Facebook, it used to be the friend request. So if you accept the friend request, you can then see their feeds in your home, right? On
Okay.
Twitter, the follow button, that if you follow somebody, it's a way of inviting them into your home. Same thing with Twitter. If you had the follow button, you invited them into your home. They never emphasized that it was going to be used as a market, right? Because the
No.
market dynamic is completely different. You want everybody to be able to see everything at all times. It's as open. It's open. You don't need any special invite to get it there. But because of the way the users used it, and they now started having explore pages. So Instagram went on to say, okay, now that I realize that the home system is, people need the explore button more than they use the home button. They now have a home button and they have an explore page, which is like a market where now you can just tap on explore and you're just seeing random people come. And everybody has had to retrofit solutions to fit how users are using it. But now this is a new day, and I can have the opportunity of learning from all these people, and then you can now say, okay, of course, in another maybe 10 years or 20 years, depending on the cost of growth is so high that you don't know what the new technology is going to be. But just to reiterate my point, if Facebook or Twitter had my advantage, they'll probably build it the way I'm building it.
Yeah. So what I can see, it's a really good combination between Scrum, blockchain, and dispute resolution, and this is what you have created in terms of get a solution. But I would say mostly for the buyer, because the seller is the seller, but the buyer who really trusts in you guys. I mean, he will pay as he is receiving their products at home or whatever in the office. So I like to see traction. I can see that you have kind of 11,000 users and counting and going up and up. You told me how many in Turkey, how many in Nigeria?
About 1,000 in Turkey and then about 10,000 in Nigeria. So the 1,000 people was how I started, because I told you I already had those groups. I had many of those groups already existed in my phone. So I just went back to them and like, hey, you know me, just try. This is a better alternative than what we are currently using. You really use it to build traction. So I started with the market first, but then I started getting a lot more traction and growth in the Nigerian market. And then I'm like, you know what, let's focus on the Nigerian market first. The pain point seems to be much higher here. The room for growth seems to be much higher here. And when you've been able to prove all of this, then you can take it. There's something I learned. I was also part of the Startup Bootcamp Accelerator program, and there's something we learned as part of the problem called global. It is a combination of global and local, and the
Yeah,
idea
okay.
is and the idea is that every market you expand into, while you have a core product that might go across the entire market, you still need to customize it for the market, because there are dynamics within the local entity that you might not realize until you put your presence there. And so the idea is, so you focus on the market that you primarily understand, you know how it works, you are on ground to track these things, and if things go haywire, you can sort it out. And then if you've been able to survive this period and then you want to expand, you then start trying to repossess in different
Fine.
sectors.
Yeah, correct. Milestones. Something that I like very much. from you guys is that you were invited to the Netherlands to give an excellent, I would say, speech. It's more than a pitch, which is different. And this expo next, and you receive an invitation. Can you share with us what was this fantastic opportunity in the Netherlands?
Well, it was all. It was thank you. It was a really fantastic opportunity, and I'm glad that you brought it up. Because they'll startup bootcamp will have my head if I'm not if after all this opportunity I don't give them a shout out. So shout out Startup Bootcamp. Startup Bootcamp is an accelerator program. It's the number one accelerator program in Europe, and they train you, teach you different dynamics from founders that have passed through there for over a 3 month period, and then it culminates in a demo day where you show that your product works and show what you're building. You talk to investors, you talk to potential partners, and you gather around the people that invested in the community to discuss how they can improve your product and not improve your product and how you can make it work. And so that was what we did. We had the demo day, and then we pitched to different investors, tried to get partners. We got a lot of email addresses of different people, from people who are trying to help with design of the product to make it look more usable. Because I am a scientist. I can say I'm less of a scientist than an engineer. I just hack solutions together. Like, I don't really care about whether it's fine or whether it looks pretty. It's like, does it work? But I've come to learn that not everybody thinks like that. Some people really need to, like, it has to it has to appeal to them.
You need a beautiful package. Yeah, and then you do some. But anyway,
Exactly.
I would like to highlight is I would say someone from Africa flew to Europe because of an invitation, and you had the opportunity to meet people, and that is a fantastic opportunity. So I'm glad that you had that one. Let me go further. Upcoming launches or features for the.
Oh yes. Well, we have a bunch. We just rolled out our verification feature, so now we want our merchants to verify themselves so that we can clear up any KYC issues. But our most important update is going to come over the next 3 months. We are trying to put out a loan feature within the application, and the loan feature is supposed to help. So usually the dynamic, you learn as you go. Usually the dynamic in cases like this was before, and this is a new dynamic we're now introducing. It was you meet somebody and say, hey, I want to sell you the phone, and they will say, okay, how much is the phone? You say it's $1,000, right? And then the person sends you $1,000. If you're an honest businessman, you find a place where you could buy for $800. You send the phone to the person, and then you keep the change, right? But because the cash was with you, you could really just buy the phone and send it. However, with our dynamic now, the cash isn't with you, but you've gotten the order, and now you don't have $800 to buy the phone to go give the person. So you come to meet me and say, hey, please, can you give me like an $800 loan so that I can deliver this order? And I'm like, I don't trust you yet. That's why I built this app. I don't ability. So the idea is that once they verify themselves and we're solid about them, we'll be able to roll out loan features for people who are like super verified, who have done multiple trades, and like, okay, if you get an order, we can give you 80% of it to deliver the order. We'll take a 5%, a 2.5% cut off the loan that we give you, and when we are giving you back your money in full, we'll take our our transaction fee plus the interest we earned in loans out of it and give you the money back. So that's one of the things that we're doing. Of course, we're always doing. We push an update at least once every month, sometimes once every 2 weeks, because you realize that you push. Well, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but I'll say it anyway. You push an update, you realize there's a problem with the update, you push a new update. So every day, as of right now, I already had 2 calls from users saying, "Oh, there's this thing about my app that's not working." I'm like, "Okay, don't worry. Wait 2 weeks. The team will see it." So you're always getting feedback from the users anyway. So you use that to improve, and you don't even know. So initially, the way we started the product, for instance, is that you could only do one trade negotiation at a time. So if you wanted to buy this shirt, you talked on the shirt, you negotiated on the shirt, and you sold it. But then we now had grocery sellers on the platform. And grocery sellers are selling eggs, rice, beans, coconut, and maybe you want to buy all that. You don't want to negotiate rice, deal.
Oh,
Exactly. So then we now rolled out a new feature that, like, okay, now if you're buying from the same person, you can add multiple items to the cart, and then you can
Perfect.
negotiate all of it together, and then pay for it in one trade. So yes, it's a consistent
Great
process
idea.
of yes,
Great
yes.
idea. Okay, and extension plans beyond Nigeria and Turkey. What are you looking? Which is our next step here?
Well, I'm really looking at East Africa. I choose my markets now, and this might change. I really have to emphasize this, that please, while I'm on record, don't record me that this is what I said in on March
Sure.
28th. But I'm really looking. The way I choose the markets is markets that have big populations and large diaspora populations. So the market has to be big. When I mean big, I mean like 50 million and above people, and they have to have a good diaspora network, because the trades I really want to foster are the trades between the local communities and the diaspora populations. And there's a lot of traffic going in that direction. And as through immigration, as diaspora populations grow, that traffic is becoming larger and larger. And I'm really so Kenya, Tanzania, Egypt, South Africa will be my key parts, with Tanzania being the key guy that's in my mind as of right now.
Okay, and time is flying, and we have gone into too many different topics here. Amazing, by the way. Where can people find Jen?
Fantastic. If you just search AJE, I hope I'm saying it right for all the people in the world, is A, then J, then E. If you search it on the store, either the Apple Store or the Play Store, you should find it. It's a blue app with two people shaking hands in a way. You shouldn't be able to miss it. And on the web, you should just do aje.africa, and you'll find it on the web.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for being here. You were a great host. I mean, we went into the details, starting from Turkey, and then you went back to Nigeria, and we went through all these details. It was great. I mean, I think that we have a really good story here, and so I really want to thank you very much for coming here. And one last thing, because it's important. Then people will watch this from different places around the world. Which is your favorite dish, Nigerian dish?
Oh, it has to be pounded jam and egusi soup. It's
Can
not
you
common.
explain what is that one?
Exactly. Usually, a lot of Nigerians will say jollof rice, but jollof rice is it's not that unique. Pounded yam and egusi soup is like cocoa yams or potato, but yams, and then you boil it in hot water until it's like regular yam, and then you pound it with a stick and a plant until it turns soft, and then you can now eat it with your hands with soup, which is made out of melon seeds and bitter
Oh,
leaves. Yeah.
that is fantastic. So,
Well, before the end of your trip, I will show you what it looks like.
okay, so by being here, so you recommend me a place where I can eat a good dish like that one?
I will. If you go to I shouldn't be giving this shout out without them paying me. This is going to like thousands of millions of people. Okay, but I'll do my best. If you go to There's a place called Iya Alamala. It's in Ikeja, or
Okay.
Stella's Kitchen in Computer Village. So Computer Village is where everybody in Lagos goes to buy their electronic gadgets. There's
Yes.
a very cool store there, not known by many. Like, you had to be like me, who spent all of his youth in those places trying to buy things. And the only dish they serve there is pounded jam and egusi.
Wow.
That is.
So we need to go there. So,
Yes, we do.
Well, thank you very much again. I mean, so we went
I have to
from
say
technology.
something, if you don't. I have to say something, if you don't mind. I really like the
Please.
fact that you're telling all the African stories, as many people. What you're doing is remarkable, and I can't give you money or anything, but I hope God rewards you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those words. And I have really enjoyed your being here at One Coffee with R, and it's great to have you here. And guys, we are walking around the world, looking ahead, meeting with people like today. I mean, he's a friend of mine, and we talked from technology, we talked food, we also had a good story about what happened in Turkey. I mean, this was great. So thank you very much, and guys, see you in another coffee with art. Bye bye now.
Thank you.